women can just never be happy, can they? They get everything they want and they still complain. Working women's cries and asks why we fought for women's to get jobs in the first place. I'm so tired. Yeah, welcome to that male privilege. Now you know what male privilege is like. This is exactly what guys feel like. You think we're not tired? You think we do this because we enjoy it? Hey, you want to take over? Be my guest. Though it's no secret that many of us dream of earning a full-time salary without having to complete a strenuous day of work for 8 hours, 5 days a week. Even if most of us are not required to work and did not make the money we do at our jobs, it would be nice to be able to kick back our feet and relax much more often than we can imagine in current times. Yes, that would be nice. The one Wayman's believes this lifestyle was once right at her fingertips before it was stripped away by women's rights activists in the 1900s. She reminds us that there was once a time when women were not allowed to work outside their households and admits that she's more suited for this life than the current one she is living in. Look, if women just waited a little bit longer, they would have had it so easy. If they just waited until washers and dryers and microwaves and Roombas, all of this technology that makes housework super easy, if they just waited for that, dude, they would be a full-blown leisure class. Like many of us who work full-time, Tay is feeling burnt out and exhausted. She took to TikTok to express her frustrations and blames those who fought to allow women's in the workforce. Now, why don't you hold them accountable? At least their modern-day counterparts. Oh, whoever fought to get women's jobs, why? The tearful 22-year-old asks in a TikTok video that's been viewed nearly 6 million times. Why did we do that? I am so tired. I just want to put my feet up. Tay reveals in the video's caption she is clearly at her breaking point, mentally and physically exhausted from work. Welcome to the club, I guess. Though Tay's feelings were those that many working women's could relate to. Yeah, oh yeah, you don't like that male privilege anymore, huh? No, someone has to say it. Had to say it. One TikTok user commented they should have fought for a little less hard. Another user noted of the women's rights movement. Who thought anyone should have to work? We should all be sitting on the beach eating cheese and wine. Another user hilariously shared. Yeah, that's true. If nobody worked, who would be making the cheese and wine you'd want to eat? You know. So other women's noted working full-time is especially difficult for them where they are expected to manage their households on top of their jobs. Because now we have to work and do the house chores, one user pointed out. We fought to do something other than cleaning the house, but tell me why I'm still doing it, another user wrote. Okay, women, I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm just going to tell you straight up, working women, if you are sick of also doing the housework, have you considered getting a house husband that'll do the 30 to 60 minutes of work this takes a day and then spend the rest of his time playing video games while complaining with his guildmates in World of Warcraft how undervalued and oppressed he is? And then when you come home from a hard day's work, like doing 16 hours of overtime, he still demands you do your half of the housework? Why don't you really embrace that life of a man? I mean, go for it. Joking aside, I work and take care of my household just fine. I don't know what her problem is. So while working full-time is undoubtedly difficult and draining at times, the rights women's have gained in the process are worth it. Yeah, too bad they don't really have any of the other responsibilities that come with it, though. But, baby steps. It's important to acknowledge that women were once forbidden from having the financial independence that we have now. This is what's called the golden handcuffs? Yeah, that's what this is. You have been shackled by the golden handcuffs. Oh, yeah, you got your independence now, but you know what a side effect of independence is? You have to constantly work to maintain it. You didn't used to have to do that. So, in fact, women in the U.S. were expected to remain at home managing the household and family while their spouses went out to work until the 1970s after the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1964. The act prohibited employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, and gender. Though discrimination based on gender was not initially proposed in the bill, it was only added in the Title VII as an attempt to prevent it from passing. Additionally, the National Organization for Women's formed and urged President Johnson to uphold the promises of Title VII for equal employment opportunities for women. Hey, you guys earned it. You wanted it. You enjoy it. The women's rights advocates had to continuously fight for equality, given that just a little over a century earlier, married women had been granted the right to even own property in their name. To many, they were considered property themselves under the ownership of their husbands and fathers. And on the flip side, their husbands and their fathers had to take full responsibility for them. Now they're responsible for themselves. Still, working women face difficulty due to the wage gap myth. Oh, okay. Now, of course, they're going to resort to that lie again. Been disproven so many times, no need to even waste my breath on it again. Even in today's workforce, women still earn significantly less than men due to them choosing easier jobs that pay less. In the first quarter of current year, full-time working women who hold salary positions had a median usual weekly earnings of $996, 84% of men's weekly earnings of $1,186. Why don't you do some of the heavy lifting jobs that men do, and maybe you'll get more of that money? You choose the easy jobs that don't pay as much. Don't complain. The studies indicate that closing this wage gap could take a significant amount of time. Oh, no, it's fine. So men as a whole, once they stop pursuing women, they realize they don't need that much money. Once men start living for themselves, a lot of them voluntarily downgrade their jobs so they could free up more time and reduce the stress in their life. According to PwC's Women's in the Work Index in current year, it'll take more than half a century before we close the gender wage gap. It might happen sooner if women keep driving men away. According to the report, the biggest contribution to the current myth is the loss of earnings experienced by women who are balancing raising their families with their work lives. Even as they're not having families anymore, the working women often feel overwhelmed with balancing their jobs and taking care of their families, because men don't have to deal with this like at all. Many women, even with the freedom to work outside the home today, still take on a load of household chores and caring for the children, since it was their assumed role not too many years ago. Oh, God. How much you want to bet their husbands want to help, but then they just keep getting nagged at for doing it wrong? Like, fine, you do it then. 54% of heterosexual marriage household where both parents work full-time report that's the mother who mostly manages the household and the children's schedules. Okay, so you said they both work full-time. How many hours does each of them actually work, though? Because the households I've seen like this, the woman worked full-time at some low-paying job. The guy worked full-time at some high-stress job that required 4+ hours of overtime every day. Yeah, maybe if you pay half the bills, he'll do half the housework. It's only fair. So this could be a major factor contributing to burnout in so many women's employees in today's workforce. Too many cases, they're the ones pulling double duty, balancing a career and their family. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's 22-year-old that was crying. Yeah, she totally is balancing taking care of her 30 children. Uh-huh. Probably has a deadbeat husband around the house too. Why not throw that in there? Spends all of her money on alcohol and lottery tickets and beats her and the children too. I'm sure that's all happening. So indeed, we should not romanticize the fact that just a few decades ago, women were forbidden to work outside the home and from having any financial independence. It is true that many women's employees in this day and age who have the privilege of working also face the burden of receiving lower pay and doing more work around the house after a long day as opposed to their male counterparts. See, this is why I'm so glad relationships are falling apart. Because as men are happier living single, women get more miserable. Their lies start falling apart really quick. However, as he learned from the past, it's never too late to advocate for change. Some men can start by picking up the slack by helping out at home, and some of this take some stress off their hardworking partners. Employers can start discussing and working towards closing the wage gap. Well, once the women close the performance gap, we can close the wage gap. Deal? The women's are an integral part of today's workforce, accounting for 50.04% of jobs in the U.S. They couldn't say half. They had to round to the nearest 100th of a percent. They couldn't just say half, really. Wow. I bet if they were like 49.5%, they would have rounded it up to 50. Is essentially that we do everything in our power to allow them to thrive and succeed. No, dude, you're already experiencing the male privilege. You're a tax slave, just like us guys are now. Deal with it. You're strong and independent. You can't keep asking other people to fix your problems for you. You're on your own, just like a man. This is what you wanted. Enjoy it. Because I sure as hell ain't going to help you out. You're on your own, just like I am. You don't like something in your life, be the change you want to see. You change it. Not anyone else's problem, ladies. And we know damn well, even if you got everything you wanted here, you'd still not be happy. You'd still be making up excuses. Guys have finally learned there's no point. The goalpost just keeps moving. So the only winning move is not to play. We've finally realized that. So all we got to say is, once again, enjoy that male privilege. You got what you wanted.